Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to whatever time it is for you. This is the On Your Head Son podcast, the show where four brothers update you on everything you need to know about the Premier League. Unfortunately, this week we're missing two brothers, so we're inviting a very special friend of the podcast, Mr. Ali Yeoman.
Thank you for having me.
Woo! Yeah,
An absolute honour to be on the podcast.
Yeah,
First guest.
Wow,
When
that
you
must mean something.
Yeah,
When you were growing up, was
First
this
one.
on your list of things you wanted to do before you die?
Where was this?
Yeah, was it high?
When I was growing up.
Yeah.
Well, I had it in the back of my mind that you guys might create a podcast at some point. I thought that would probably be one of the first things on the list, to be honest. So it's up there.
Perfect.
Up there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to help you with that bucket list thing.
How are you?
How am I?
Same question to you.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm very well.
But when you list of things to do in your life, creating a brilliant football podcast like this one.
Yeah.
Stop
Was it up there?
Do you know what?
Cutting edge.
This was a very whim thing about 2 months ago, and once we got the idea in our head, it became the best idea ever. And now here we are.
Did it become the best idea ever?
Best idea ever.
Okay, well, I need a bold statement.
And it still is, right?
It still is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second episode in, and we're already two brothers down. So fantastic.
Hi, Mum.
Quickly, Ali, earlier on you said a quote which was, "We are now the best team in the league, in the best league in the world, so the best team in the world."
No. Hang on. So that's paraphrasing it. He's paraphrased me via a WhatsApp conversation. And basically, we are, I think, the best team in the league.
Who do you support?
Who do you support?
Arsenal.
Arsenal,
Of course.
Camera.
It's a bit embarrassing you bringing over your shirt to hang up there as well, isn't it?
That's one of Matt's old shirts. Dreams like a jumble sale. There's loads of old football shirts. And I think it is the best team in the world, but I don't think that therefore makes us the best team in the world. But the first two statements, I stand by them. And I can back them up.
That we're the best. You're the best team in the league in the
Currently,
best
I
league
think
in the
so,
world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we will get onto that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But first of all, we're going to just go through a couple of bits of news. There's been some quite big news
Harry Kane.
in the transfer market.
Harry Kane.
Yes, Harry Kane. Expand.
Harry Kane's left. It's big news. Big news. And what happened? He lost the trophy. Within 24 hours, lost the trophy straight away. Went for a trophy and lost it. But no, in all seriousness, I think it's a really good move for him.
Why?
There's loads about him breaking the goal scoring record, but then again, I think he makes Bayern a 10 times better team and actually kind of makes him a challenger for the Champions League. So yeah, I actually think it's a really good move for him. I think a lot of people would go against it just because they don't really watch the Bundesliga. So it's a huge loss for the Premier League. But yeah, I mean, in terms of an actual player going to a better team and improving that team.
Do you think he'll win? How long till he wins a trophy? That's a funny question to ask.
That's this season.
As an Arsenal fan.
It's this season, isn't it?
Do you reckon it'll be?
Yeah, of course it will.
Yeah,
I predict that Borussia Dortmund win the Bundesliga this year and Spurs win the League Cup.
Imagine. Can you imagine? It's almost written in the stars, isn't it? It is almost written in the stars.
I'd love that.
And how about you, Ali? If you were Harry Kane, taking away the obviously allegiance to Arsenal, what would you do in his shoes? Would you have gone to Bayern Munich or would you stay at Tottenham?
I think all day long you go Bayern Munich. Or like Tottenham, there's not me being an Arsenal fan here. I think what people have said is to stay in the Premier League is the temptation is the records, which actually that's probably 2 seasons away to get the record. Is it 50 goals?
270. Yeah, it's 43 goals.
He's not doing it in 1 season, so it's 2 seasons, right? And he's 30 or 29 now.
30 now. Yeah.
I feel like that's all we can do to Bayern Munich and start winning stuff instantly, like 3 years, 4 years. I think you've got to do B, right?
And living in a foreign country. I'm not sure how
he would
speaking German.
I can't imagine fitting in too well. Yeah.
Did you see his press conference where he knew one word? It was like, I can't remember what word it was, but it was...
Hello.
Yeah, it was like... it was just like...
Hello.
But no, I mean, yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I did watch the highlights. It was surreal watching him in a different kit. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out throughout the year. And how about Moises Caicedo? £110 million. Moises Caicedo.
That he rejected. to go to Liverpool. So he obviously just didn't want to go to Liverpool, and then now he's obviously going to Chelsea for the same. Is it the same price?
That's 115, I think. Mark.
It's 115.
It might have gone 5 million.
Yeah, I mean, even so, I think that's
115 million, correct?
that
Yes.
is an absolute joke for that kind of player. Like he's had a very good
player,
season
but-
and a very good player.
What year do you think his contract expires?
7 years from now.
Well, so
Is it 7 years?
his contract expires in June 2031, with an option to extend
It's
until
more, it's like 8 years.
2032.
He's
like
locked
that.
in.
How old is he?
He's 21 years old.
Oh, I mean, yeah, okay, fine. That's,
I wonder what wage he's on. You're giving him that wage for 8 years, so either he's getting ripped
Yes.
off or they're getting ripped off. I can't tell which way around
I
it
think
is.
he's probably getting ripped off.
Must be, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Don't
Well,
know.
an
Who knows?
8-year contract
Who knows?
is absolutely unheard of. But well, it's not unheard
It's
of.
like
now.
common. It's
But,
like common practice at Chelsea. Isn't it? Every other club's like, what's going
Yeah,
on?
It's like getting a normal 9-to-5 job, is it? It's not like you're...
But they lock you in for 8 years. You
They
can't,
give
you
it
can't
8
move
years.
after
Yeah,
2 years.
That's true.
They're locking
That is-
you in.
That is true. And what do we think he'll bring to Chelsea?
security. I mean, we'll get into kind of their obviously like performance the other day, but yeah, security that midfield, because obviously Enzo Fernandez looks like a really good player moving forward. He was playing a little bit higher than he did
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
And you had Conor Gallagher in front of the back four,
Mm-hmm.
who I just don't think is a quite that level for Chelsea.
It's not even that position, really. Is
No,
it? It's not
exactly.
A defensive
He's-
midfielder.
He's a good
He's-
utility
he's a
player
runner.
to have. It's a good utility
He's-
player to have
He's
for
a runner,
Chelsea.
but yeah,
100%.
that's what he's going to bring. He's just going to bring security to that midfield.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He's just like if they've lost Kante.
Mhm.
He could be like the new Kante type player in that midfield, and he is definitely for his age. For his age, he's the best midfielder in the Premier League, I'd say. For his age,
Yeah.
not the best,
Mhm.
but for his age, he is
Yeah.
21 years old, so
Mhm.
young.
Yeah.
Done it with Brighton for 2 seasons now as well. Not just
Yeah.
been 6 months, just 2 seasons. He's looks
A very good player.
superb.
I agree.
Superb.
I agree. Yeah.
And speaking of young midfielders, possibly going to Chelsea,
Lavia.
Romeo Lavia.
Lavia.
Hijacked the deal from Liverpool. It seems at the moment, at the time of recording this podcast, that his heart is set on Chelsea,
Mhm.
not Liverpool. Where does he fit into all this?
I don't know. That's a strange one, isn't it? Because you're buying a 21-year-old, obviously, who's obviously going to be there for the next 8 years.
Yeah.
And then you've got Lavia behind him, who's 19.
Yeah.
So basically, they're just going to have to alternate between the two. But I mean, this year they don't have Europe.
We can't play in a 3.
Well, no. But then that's very defensive, isn't it? To have Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo Fernandez. That's a very defensive.
Do you not
Unless
have-
you play
do you
Enzo
not
Fernandez as a number 10,
Yeah, I
which
was about to say that,
basically
yeah.
is probably going to be the case. But I mean, yeah.
Do you have Len Lavia box to box, Caicedo sitting back a little bit,
And
Enzo 10?
yeah.
I can't think of who else would be 10 at Chelsea right now apart from Enzo.
Is that creative enough?
Yeah.
Well, you've got look at the players you've got. Like you've basically at the moment, what we saw Liverpool yesterday was that they put Chilwell and James right up, almost like wingers, like high
Yeah.
wingers.
Mhm.
So if you're going to do that, you can have James, Chilwell, you can have Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
You can have like 3 or 4 players attacking the box. So what you really want then is a stable kind of
And energy.
solid.
And energy to cover those wing backs.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, I think you need
So-
something like that.
In that, are you saying that Chelsea are becoming like Liverpool's tactics 2 to 3 years ago, where they had 3 solid running midfielders with 3 attacking players?
And Enzo
Yeah,
Fernandez,
maybe, yeah.
who's got a little sprinkle of kind of
Yeah.
the magical little pass.
Mhm.
Arsenal as well have got something similar at the moment with Rice and Party sitting there. Like it's
Yeah,
it allows you to commit players forward.
Arsenal already. Arsenal.
Right. If you want to become the best, you've got to live for the best. And we are currently the best now. We'll get into that. But I think having a solid centre midfield, solid spine in your team, doesn't matter what year you're in. You might be in 1970s, you might be in 2020s.
Mhm.
That is just a consistent theme. If you want to win games, spine of your team needs to be spot on. And I
Yeah.
think Chelsea didn't have a spine in their team a month ago.
No.
Now they're getting a really, really good one.
Yeah.
So fair play to them. Spending silly money.
Still young. Still
No.
very, very young. 22, 21 and 19. And who knows, Lavia could go to Liverpool, where, let's be honest, like Liverpool are desperate for a defensive or even just central midfielder, not a cam. So if
They got
Lavia doesn't go,
Mm.
who do they sign? Because they have to sign someone.
They didn't look like they want to sign like Liverpool need one, but it seems like every other fan and Liverpool fans know they need one, but whoever's doing the transfers doesn't seem like they're that desperate.
I don't get
It's
it.
weird.
I honestly don't get how they haven't signed us. Well, I mean, they have been, because so you put in a bid for Lavia for 40 million, then 110 mil for Caicedo.
So it's
That's
almost
wild,
shooting in the
isn't
foot.
it? I know.
If they paid
Yeah.
£50 million for Lavia about a month ago, they have Lavia.
I know.
Yeah, they had pre-season
And then they were-
settles.
Yeah, exactly.
They just came out of nowhere, double the price, and it was 38 million, wasn't it? They said no. They said at that point they thought they had Southampton.
They walked away.
Yeah, they walked away, and then
And
they say out of nowhere 110. That seems like desperate business, isn't it? Like last minute.
But in all this, it's quite good business for Southampton. That's what I'm saying. There.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
all- yeah.
And Brighton.
And Brighton.
Brighton.
Yeah.
The prices their players are going.
I know.
Wild.
It's ridiculous. But
I think we mentioned it last week, but a lot of Brighton players move on and don't hit those heights again. Trossard is probably the best of the bunch, really, in
And
terms
Ben
of where he's
White.
moved.
Ben White.
Oh, Ben White is true. Yeah, I'll give you Ben White.
Kukurea.
Yes.
I mean,
Kukurea.
was he 65 million?
Yeah.
So much money for a
Even
fullback.
Basuma at Tottenham done
Yeah,
nothing.
done
Nothing
nothing.
last season.
He looked
Right,
good on the weekend.
He did alright on the weekend.
Right, yeah.
He didn't have many opportunities last season in his
Yeah.
defence. But yeah, no, point taken. Like, there's,
No,
yeah.
Go on, moving back in time, the season opener
that's a good opener.
was Man City 3, Burnley 0. You're laughing. Did you not enjoy the game?
Well, it was very routine.
Yeah.
It was a very
Boring.
routine.
Do you think it was that routine?
Yes.
Yeah. yeah. It was.
Interesting.
Well, what was
So
it?
I think the first half, I think Burnley played really, really well. Their press was brilliant,
Yeah.
and then Haaland scored. Well, one goal was a little bit was a good move and a good goal,
Good
and the second goal was a freak goal. It doesn't normally go in. It's just such a good finish for him.
It does.
Maybe
It does for him.
And then after that, I think that kind of killed the game. I think Burnley lost their energy and appetite. But I think Burnley gave a good showing for themselves.
No, I do.
really do.
Yeah.
And there's a few sour scenes, which is nice to see. I mean, the red card wasn't great. There was a lighter being thrown at the left back Rico Lewis, which wasn't great. But no, I don't think it was routine to begin with. I think they really gave them a good game. It just once they got the second goal, it kind of just.
But I
it.
can't think of a single cutting edge chance. Maybe it's my memory, but I can't think of one they had. Like Burnley, to really pin to worry City, you need to have a few chances, right? For me, I can't really remember, man.
They had so many nearly moments in the press.
Yeah.
A lot,
Yeah.
and there were a couple of recovery tackles from Rodri, which were superb.
Yeah.
Like, just filled back in. I know Matt and I spoke about this last year. I mean, I think Rodri is the first name on the team sheet over Haaland.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
he's he's almost irreplaceable.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And De Bruyne injured as well.
De Bruyne injured.
De Bruyne
yeah.
injured possibly, and obviously he's had a recurrent. I think it was his spine again, and you think he was out for like 6 weeks last year with his spine at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think.
Imagine
But I
Rodri
actually
injured.
weirdly I'm not really that worried if De Bruyne doesn't play for 6 weeks. Because then he just comes back in and just makes an effect straight away. But even so,
he does that not
year.
infrequently, does he?
Yeah,
There's a period
exactly.
where he's injured.
So yeah, no, I can't say really too worried about that. But yeah, I mean, still obviously favourites for the league. But yeah, they look good without being. They won 3-0 without being outstanding.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I think that kind of
You
shows.
said the best team in the league. Ali will have something to say about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's go.
A lot to say about that. So,
Let's
so
go.
Arsenal kicks off their season with a 2-1 win over Nottingham Forest.
It's fine.
Fine.
I mean,
Fine. Do you enjoy football?
yeah, it was like the game itself was fine. Like there's positives and negatives to take from it. Positives are it's not really from that game. I thought that game we weren't amazing. We weren't great. I think we did some things all right. We moved the ball probably a bit too slowly sometimes.
What do you think of the formation?
I think one of the signings which has gone under the radar a little bit has been Havertz, and a lot of people, including myself, raised their eyebrows when they saw the gossip. I was like, that's probably not true.
A lot of
Can't see where
people's worst transfer there for the money.
It was a conversation last week. It's a pretty poor transfer.
Yeah, all the
What we
things.
think.
Well, people look at Havertz and what do they see? They either see a misfiring false nine forward, which he's been at Chelsea, or B, a more creative player who maybe we don't need that. We've got Odegaard.
Yeah.
But actually, what we're seeing now is C. So we're seeing that Arteta is able to rotate formations around a lot, change things a lot tactically by actually playing Havertz in a formation and midfield that has Odegaard. So I do really like it, but I think there's a bit of like, there's still a lot of different relationships being learned across the fields.
Yeah.
I think Rice and Partey as a two can be quite defensive and slow, and that's something they need to get better at as well.
Yeah.
But Partey played right back.
When defending.
Well,
Partey going
kind
forward,
of, yeah. So what do you see what they were doing? So he was playing right back, then he was doing kind of like a 1-2 with Saka, and then moving up into midfield. And then what they were trying to do then was
Odegaard come to the right.
Well, they'd have Ben White would be as like kind of the wide of the three, almost a right back if you like, and he was still assisting Saka.
Yeah.
So that was. Look, I think like that's semantics. I think like Arteta does a lot of. It's the same with Pep, where he has a lot of different positions that are quite fluid. You know, you might be a certain midfielder.
It's not like what you see on the team sheet. That's not what's going to line up.
No, exactly. Yeah.
But the big news, Timber,
injured.
possibly why it's a knee injury which I'm scanning on at the moment.
It's not good so far. It's really good.
He looks a really good player.
When you say looking good so far, you mean 40 minutes?
Well, no, pre-season as well.
Pre-season.
Yeah.
Actually, looking good is. He's actually looked fantastic so far as well, I would say. If I was being, like, that was an understatement. Like, so far, what he looks like is Zinchenko, but can defend and is like an animal as defending.
Yeah,
so I like the look of him. He looks very good in the ball. So far I think we look good. I think we look like the most complete team over City. And the reason why I say over City is because, is this the right time of the podcast to say this?
Sure. I mean, there is no right time or wrong time.
Okay.
You fire away.
City have lost two key players this summer. Gundogan, they've brought in Kovacic, but he's not Gundogan. That is just a flat out fact. And I think Gundogan, there's many a time where he's come in, you know, maybe when they got like a double week with Champions League in February, he comes in, does a job, gets some 3 points. Mahrez again, you know, having someone like Mahrez on the bench, he often was on the bench. Is literally like if you're one of the wingers, you know you need to probably score or assist that game. Otherwise, Mahrez will come on, score an assist and take your place. Yeah. They've lost those two strength and depth. De Bruyne says not a big deal. I think it is a big deal now they've lost some of the other players. I think City now, their squad is quite rugged. And I think it's a little bit thin. And I'd say a lot of their players are 30. So personally for me, I think City might struggle this season compared to previous seasons. They've always started slowly. They've had the strength and depth. They've had the 2 11s to be able to get themselves out of trouble. Yeah. Every season, but they haven't got that anymore. So
I think that Kovacic is a great replacement for Gundogan. What they won't get is the goals for the Gundogan one. But I think everything else in the play, Kovacic does. The Gundogan doesn't.
What about passing and stuff like that? Is Kovacic as good as like playmaking as Gundogan? For me, I think maybe.
Is Gundogan a big playmaker?
Why?
I wouldn't say he's a big, but I think he's a very tiny passer, and I think he turns up in good positions to finish off moves. I don't think he's a playmaker.
Why? When I say player, I don't mean a talent. I mean like somebody who at the start of the phase starts to play off and moves the ball in the right direction.
That's what Kovacic does as well.
Yeah, Kovacic
definitely does that.
So why have City put in a £70 million bid in for Paqueta if they're all good in that area?
Paqueta's, I think, more of a Mahrez replacement.
Is he? I thought
he's not.
Well, no, but trying to move Foden almost to that right hand side or Bernardo Silva to that right hand side, and then they almost play him as a centre mid.
I think that the Paqueta signing is about depth, and I think that we said it earlier on ago that like they're over reliant on Rodri. Really, I mean, Paqueta's not replaced with Rodri. I know he's not replaced with Rodri, but Kovacic could play that role, not to the same level that Rodri does. Calvin Phillips, well, still when he comes through. Anyway, I feel like we've talked a bit too much on City.
Forest looked good.
Forest had a game plan. They went to the Emirates. They played a low block. They played it well, and they came out at 75 minutes in. We made 2 subs, Wanyi and Elanga.
And Andy's
prediction looked good for about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
He gave the ball away 2 or 3 times after that.
Elanga.
Yes.
That big guy is good though, isn't he? Is it
Tyrell Wanyi?
Yeah, he's good.
Brilliant.
He's a handful.
Yeah.
If they can, because they play Brennan Johnson as a niner, don't they? And they bring him on as a sub. they've got. I suppose they would do it last season. They play Johnson as a right kind of for three. I think that's got to be surely the better option.
I think against Arsenal, you're not going to play more than one forward to start off with.
True.
That's the
Like
fact.
from set pieces, he's an animal. And to defend him, like what a nightmare.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. Speaking of firing forwards, how about Alexander Isak?
Ooh, 5-1. So I actually
Newcastle.
thought so this was probably going to be my favourite game of the week because I thought these are two challenging teams.
What was your best transfer of the year? Was it Pau Torres? Did he come on? Pau Torres was transfer of the season. I mean, I did agree with you, but came on and got torn apart. I think that was to do with the tactics. They were playing a really high line against Newcastle, which seemed like suicide. Which isn't very Unai Emery either.
Weird.
No, it is. But it is. He's no. So he has been playing a very high line, and they caught a lot of people offside. But the thing is, when it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And this was. But the thing is, the minute it went to, I think it was 2-0 and then 2-1, and then the minute it went to 3-1, it was good night. So it really was an absolute joke, to be honest, from there towards it. But they could have scored 4 or 5, and they actually could have scored 4 or 5. Yeah, there were 4 or 5 chances.
Really?
But Newcastle could have scored 8, 9, 10, really. So definitely a better team won. And Isak looks miles above. His chip was beautiful. And then he comes off 70th minute, whatever it is, 80th minute, and Callum Wilson comes on and scores, and then also misses an open goal. Harvey Barnes obviously gets off a mark straight away. I don't think there's a better starting day.
Did the massive signing from Southampton, the fullback play? Did he come?
Well, the issue. So we spoke about this last time. The issue with obviously like who played with signing Livramento is he's a right back, and they've arguably got the best right back one of the best right backs in the league.
Is he not being signed to play left back over Dan Burn?
Well, I mean, but you don't sign an 18, 19-year-old playing the wrong position, which is probably what they do.
Is Trippier double-footed? Is he double-footed?
A little.
He's played left back for England.
There we go. Must be that. You wouldn't sign someone to replace Trippier because he's one of their best players.
I don't think
Trippier's 32.
But he's
on his way.
He's still got 2-3 years at least at that level, and Livramento can obviously learn off him. But Tonali, obviously we put him as a bit of a flop.
That was Chris.
Chris did. But obviously he looked unbelievable. Actually, he looked absolutely comfortable.
How did Gordon look? Because I think he looks rubbish all the time.
Gordon looked like a player. Gordon looked like a player. But I think also
you mean under 21 Euros player of the tournament, Anthony Gordon?
Yeah.
Is that what he was?
Yeah, he was.
I mean that guy who's rubbish used to play for Everton. That's the one I mean.
So
yes, you did know that.
So basically, what happened was you had Tyrone Mings and Konza getting left completely by himself because Matty Cash was pushing so far forward. Dean was pushing so far forward. And Anthony Gordon just literally ran right out on that left-hand side. And then when Harvey Barnes came on, it was just like... I'm not saying Anthony Gordon's going to start every game. I think Harvey Barnes will take his position quite quickly. But
they've got a good little rotation of forwards they can now play with the Champions League. I don't know how. So
it's funny
how deep the squad is for their defence.
No.
And goal. I mean, who's the goalkeeper? Dubravka. Dubravka's okay, but they don't really need to rotate the goalkeeper too much. I suppose.
Lascelles, Matt Target, and Livramento.
But
they're okay. The midfield's a bit light. In terms of replacements. So on their bench they had Sean Longstaff who came on, and Elliot Anderson who I can't.
No, it's the young guy. He looks pretty physical.
But Villa still. I'm not worried about Villa.
They had a good transfer window, but
I think they're really good.
They've got players there.
Diallo looked like a player.
Yeah, he
looked good.
Leon Bailey, I'm still not sure about Leon Bailey, to be honest with you.
No, I know, and Ollie Watkins. I think he's going to have a really good year. So I'm still backing Villa.
Where are
I put them 7th, and I'm happy with that.
They're good transfer window.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they'll drop a little bit further out. I think they'll be 9th, just because of the Conference League as well.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Thursday, Sundays.
Where did they finish last season?
7th. Got the Conference League. Yeah.
But no. Interesting game. Interesting game, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll move on. We've got one more feature game, which is Brentford versus Tottenham.
Very good.
Which I watched. Did you all?
Did I
watch it? Yeah.
Sandwich issues.
What do we think of the new look Spurs minus Harry Kane?
Look decent.
Madison looked like a very good player.
Yeah.
I think
Basuma
it's,
was good as well.
but Richarlison didn't get involved at all, so they're almost playing like they wanted to play through that kind of number 9 who kind of dropped deep a little bit.
Yeah.
And Richarlison doesn't do that at all.
Richarlison kind of looked a bit like the way Jesus plays. Like he was being physical, he was energetic, he was putting his stuff around. But he wasn't. They weren't giving the ball to
He
him.
didn't get the ball once.
He wasn't getting the ball. Yeah.
He was trying to like pin people back all
Yeah.
the time, like kind of like that, and kind of looking for feet all the time. And
They
then-
weren't playing through.
That's
it.
obviously what he was told to do.
Yeah, it
wasn't
was. It was.
He
And
was
then-
told to play the Harry Kane role, and he's not Harry Kane.
No,
I
exactly.
don't know, but I used to feel like when
Harry
Spurs
Kane
had
got
Harry
what?
Kane there, they'd be looking for Harry Kane. Like the midfielders were looking for him to pass to him, he'll score. But I felt like he was doing a lot of dodge work, and giving the midfielders like space to shoot themselves.
Madison.
And I think he's going to be like a bit of a sacrifice, and he won't get many goals this season. But he'll start. I think he'll start every game because he'll be doing that dodgy
Well,
work.
they've got no one else as well.
He has to start every game.
You've got to think they're going to sign someone. You've
What,
got to
right,
think
well,
a striker.
they've just got 100 mil.
Hey,
They've
60
just
They spent £60 million for Richarlison. They
yeah,
didn't
exactly.
for no reason.
That was last year.
I think
No.
I think it's their man.
Well, they've just got 100 mil. They're surely going to sign.
They're going to sign someone. They're going to sign Taiwo
You didn't-
Wanyi from Forest.
You didn't know Danny. That's Danny Lovelace.
Yes.
Danny Lovelace wants at least 90 million worth of change. He's not going to go and spend 100 million.
Dividends.
Yeah, he wants 90 million change from it.
No, it's
Whoever he
funny.
spends on.
Brentford looked very good as well, actually.
Yeah, they do.
How do Brentford do it?
He's a good manager.
Yeah,
Thomas
brilliant
Frank,
manager.
Thomas Frank. And actually, to be honest,
Yo,
I actually
Brian and
probably-
Boomer and Rico Henry looked
Yeah.
awesome. Like bombing down the left wing. He's got to be on the radar of some like top clubs, surely.
yeah.
How old is he?
I
How old
agree.
is Rico Henry? Is he
I-
young? Is he like old? Or the,
I'm not sure. We're going to look, but
yeah,
they.
is he a nice age to be signed up?
Nice.
Is he 24?
It's a nice age to sign up.
26.
26.
Oh, he's just over the hill there for me. He's not like, you know, like clubs go for like these days. Clubs will go and drop like.
By these days, you mean Arsenal?
No, I'm just saying like Livramento, right? Sounds in France. So if he was 27, Newcastle would not have paid 40 mil for him. Am I right?
Well,
Of
no,
course,
yeah,
yeah.
but that's 19.
Don't know. I think Henry's to be at Brentford in the next few years, man.
I think, but also Flecken looked very good. I think
Yeah, he
goalie,
did.
he looked really good.
He did, yeah.
Pinnock was good.
I mean, both their strikers scored, and both their strikers looked like a handful for both of them. When Davison Sanchez came on for Christian Romero, Davison Sanchez just looked like a pace off it, really, I would say. But the best thing that happened actually that game,
He looked
it
good
was
as well.
actually almost like, yeah, he did.
The left back for Tottenham.
The
He looks like a quality
He
sign.
did. Best thing that happened that game was Christian Romero obviously scored and then looked really concussed after it, and just literally just took him straight off and was just like, no, you're not allowed to play anymore. It was one of my favourite things, but because he carried on, he wanted to carry on playing, but it was just like one of those things where it's just like, no, you're not allowed to play if you've been concussed.
Yeah.
So it's one of the first times I've ever seen a manager do that, and I was actually quite happy with that. In terms of that,
Is that because you don't like Tottenham or you wanted to see him?
basically, because then Davison Sanchez came on. Basically, because Davison Sanchez.
Or is it because you just love Ange Postecoglou?
I love Ange.
You bloody love Ange Postecoglou. How do you like Ange ball? What do you think of Ange ball?
It's good, but he doesn't like.
It's alright, actually,
he doesn't
yeah.
like Højbjerg. He doesn't like Højbjerg.
It is.
Højbjerg's gone, isn't he? He's going to South Africa.
Yeah,
The first
possibly.
game was exactly how everyone predicted it to be. It's exciting going forward, but my God,
Yeah.
first
Leave
half
themselves open.
they were
Yeah.
wide open.
Yeah, they're going to
completely wide open.
based on that game.
Brentford
Obviously, it's
should've won.
hard to base it on that. That was like all their players play well, but they still conceded 2 goals and drew 2-2 with Brentford. So I would say based on that, like they're going to be like a top 10 team this season.
Yeah, Brentford.
Based on that, not much higher in my opinion.
Brentford should have won.
Spurs. And that's not being like an Arsenal fan. I just think that
I think they'll get top
Yeah.
7. They'll get Europe based on the fact that they're not playing Europe this year.
fair, yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
But no real other reason.
Just because they're
And
leading
also-
us in defence, just
but-
looks a bit open at the back, I'd say.
I mean, I'm not a Spurs fan,
Yeah.
but it's nice watching Spurs play football.
And
They haven't played football in a lot, like
yeah.
play expansively and openly. It's
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Son also looks a bit past it.
Yes.
He really
Yeah,
does.
he's
Yeah,
old,
yes.
though,
Gave away the
isn't he?
penalty as well.
No, I know.
It's old.
It's a bit sad, really, but yeah.
Okay, before we get into next week's
Predictions.
predictions, we're going to do a quick game. So What we're going to do, it's great having Ali on the podcast this week. We're going to try over the course of the season get some people from different clubs to join the podcast. So if you are watching Mum and you decide to support Nottingham Forest, then please do come on the podcast.
Or Luton,
preferably.
If you'd like to come on the podcast, then please do let us know. And the feature we're going to do to start is your club's five-a-side team from the Premier League era. And then myself and Matt will pick our own five-a-side teams for your club as well, and we'll pick them apart. So, would you like to start with the five-a-side team?
Who are they playing?
Who are they playing? They're around Robin against our two
Okay, it's
sides.
going to be okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to start off with goalkeeper, obviously, it's logical.
That makes sense.
You don't have to
So,
play goalkeeper if you don't want to. You can play a sweeper if you want. I mean, it's your choice.
wow, if
Sure.
five-a-side, if you don't play goal, you get punished. So,
Well, there you go.
five-a-side, what's it about? It's about shot stopping, nothing else as a goalkeeper. You don't play out from the back, that's illegal. You have to roll it with your underarm roll, right?
Yeah.
So, best shot stopper, I can remember at Arsenal the last 10 years, 15 years, is actually Bert Leno. So Bert Leno was going in, no one saw that coming, Arsenal fans. Bert Leno was doing it, so I think he's the best shot stopper we've had for a while.
Interesting.
But he was terrible with his feet, distribution, but you didn't need that in five-a-side. So let's roll it out. Bert Leno. Defender, I'm going to go as a 1-2-1 formation.
Yeah.
So the back of that is obviously Mr. Saliba himself.
Saliba.
Comfortable on the ball,
Okay.
beast, just the most silky player out from the back defender ever. Koscielny, you're not getting a look in, mate, after what you did when he left the club. What a disgrace.
But you're saying he would have.
He would have been thereabouts.
Oh.
Koscielny, if it wasn't Saliba, maybe it would have been Koscielny, to be fair. But the way he left that club was a bit disrespectful. So
Yeah.
sorry, mate. You're not getting a look in. And then the two, there have to be two. Oh, it's hard with five-a-side. Do you need like kind of a... I've got Big Saliba at the back, so what I'm going to go for then is Cazorla. Cazorla, double-footed.
Yeah, fine.
Jack Wilshere said that is the best player he's ever played with.
Yeah.
Santi Cazorla.
Yeah.
Turned down Madrid before he went to Arsenal.
Mm.
Turned down Madrid, and he said it's not the only club in Spain, that's what he says. Double-footed, you take a corner, left, right, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Quality
It
player.
was good.
Cazorla.
Scored 3 kicks with both feet as well.
Honestly, I think such an underrated player.
Yeah.
Obviously Henry, there's nothing to say about that.
Yeah.
And then the last one I'd go for would be, it's gonna have to be Odegaard.
Odegaard.
Yeah, you need that little player who's working the pitch, running everywhere, closing down, got the assists.
Yeah.
I think that five-a-side team would do damage.
Yeah, fair. I mean, it's nothing on mine, but I mean,
It's not on mine. I mean, mine is old school like the old school.
no school like yours.
My goalkeeper is going to be someone that you cannot. In a five-a-side goal, there's small goals as well. You
Right.
cannot physically get it past him.
Season.
Jens Lehmann.
Ah.
Jens Lehmann. There is
He'll get sent
no.
off though.
There is no way you don't get five.
He'll leave his box. He'll come out of his box and don't get the yellow cards.
You don't get sent off in five-a-side. That's
can't-
not.
They
you can't.
would.
You guys- Jens Lehmann in goal. In
Nut
front of
job.
him, another nut job. Tony Adams.
Oh,
You're not getting
Jesus.
past him. We're not building up for the back here.
Yeah.
No one's getting past these two. Then I'm having what I'm doing is I'm having a spine down my team. So a goalkeeper, a defender, a midfielder, and a striker, and then a free roamer.
Okay.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I like it. Mine's very similar.
Free Roma.
So my midfielder is Vieira again.
Yeah.
You're going to get part. I mean, we're going to bully your team off the pitch.
Yeah.
We're playing three legs.
Again, we're going to obvious Thierry Henry for the striker, and then my free roamer is going to be Freddie Ljungberg. Freddie Ljungberg, he connects the play very well.
Fine.
Comes up with some very important goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jens Lehmann, Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, Freddie Ljungberg, Thierry Henry.
And what kit would they be wearing out of all the Arsenal kits from
They'll be wearing
the gold one, the O2 gold one?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's the best one.
It's almost,
That's the best
with the exception of Tony Adams, they're from the Invincible season.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah, no, fair. I like that one.
Mhm.
Mine's very similar to yours, actually, I have to say. So, but instead of Lehman, obviously gone Seaman.
Yeah.
Big man Seaman. He's
Awful
like,
ponytail.
awful, no, unbelievable ponytail.
Lovely ponytail.
Unbelievable
Sorry.
ponytail. And also really good on dancing on ice.
I didn't know that.
He was awful.
Seaman, your hair is in a right old state. You know that song?
Is that actually a chant?
No, do you remember?
It's a song.
Is it a Christmas number one or something?
Sven, Goran Eriksson.
He's from Wales, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Centre back, my defender. I've gone for Tony Adams as well. I don't think there's many better centre backs in kind of Premier League era.
That moment when he scored like the goal that
for
won him, the 98 when
98.
he won him the season.
Yeah, 2 goals. He scored 2 goals.
Two goals. But where he's running straight through the middle and he's like a striker and he scores the winning goal.
It's almost like a half
and he just stands around and he almost does like the Cantona. He just goes like,
yeah, I know. It's brilliant.
Beautiful moment.
One of the best. And then obviously centre mid, I've gone Vieira. You can't really. He'll cover absolutely every blade of grass. And probably will get sent off about 5 times back during our kind of round robin.
Yeah.
But yeah, brilliant. And then obviously as my cam, can't look anywhere else but Mesut Ozil.
Yeah, the laziest 5-a-side player you could possibly
Best player.
Could be doing no yardage at all.
Ever to wear.
No
ever
yardage.
to wear the Arsenal shirt. Unbelievable player. Always.
Lazy.
Yeah, but always
Lazy
available.
turd.
Always available. Always a beautiful man. Beautiful man. And then obviously up front you want Thierry Henry because he's
you can't
you can't actually.
Were there no shouts for Jeremy Allaire? Was he a consideration at all?
Almost got David Benner. No, sorry, one more. David
Bentley.
Bentley, that's the one. David Bentley, do you remember him?
Bentley, he was at Spurs, so he was at Arsenal when he was
Yeah, he
younger.
scored some unbelievable goals.
Yeah.
But he's now, I think he's working in a Mallorca nightclub now.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he retired at 27 and now he's...
Did you go
his
to that
nightclubs.
Mallorca nightclub?
No, I've just seen an interview with him. He says he basically he says he lost love of the game, and the reason was because everyone used to booze, like Tony Adams back in the day, and that culture just got wiped out, and that was him basically.
Yeah.
So he's like
Perfect.
boozing, he's like boozing.
Okay, and on to predictions for the coming week. We've got another bumper weekend full of Premier League football to come. Although for Luton and Burnley fans, you're not going to be playing this weekend because Kenilworth Road is not ready for Premier League football.
I love that.
So yeah,
Not surprised.
So you're going to have to pick another team this week. You two sets of fans. Just going to very quickly walk through the games this week. We've got Nottingham Forest versus Sheffield United.
Friday night football.
Fulham versus Brentford, West London. We've got Liverpool versus Bournemouth, Wolves versus Brighton, Tottenham versus Man United, which could be quite tasty. Speaking of tasty, Man City versus Newcastle.
2 big winners.
That's big.
2 big winners first game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm actually going to back Newcastle for that, I think.
Okay.
And we'll get to the predictions in a short time.
Positive.
Then it's Aston Villa versus Everton, West Ham versus Chelsea, and Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. Right, so what's happening next weekend?
It's the second game of the Premier League season.
And what does that mean?
Prediction game.
Prediction game! Here we are.
Let's go.
Perfect. So we'll start with
First
Chris and Andy's predictions.
Yeah.
I'll shout out Chris's. Chris has gone for a 2-1 win for Villa against Everton.
I think that's actually low.
Conservative.
I think that's I'd actually go higher. I think it's going to be 3 or 4.
Yeah.
3 or 4-1 there.
I actually probably should just jump in at the same time and say I made exactly the same prediction in terms of the winner. I went 2-0. 2-0 to Villa over Everton.
Yeah.
Do you want to read out Andy
I
and
think that's completely fair.
Andy's?
So Andy went for Liverpool against Bournemouth 4-0, which I don't really think you can argue with, to be honest. I think Bournemouth might nick a goal because Liverpool looks so ropey at the back in that game, but in the Chelsea game. But obviously, I mean, there's pretty much a shoe in there for Liverpool to win that game. So yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. And yourself?
My prediction, I went for Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United, so I'm just backing against Sheffield United all season, I think.
That's going to be your...
Yeah, that's kind of... unless, obviously, they're playing against...
And so that means when it comes around to the last team that you have to pick, you're just going to pick Sheffield United against whoever that might be.
I assume so, yeah. I assume that might work, actually. And I actually think I'm going to win this game through doing that, because Sheffield United are awful. So I'm going for Nottingham Forest to win 2-0 against Sheffield United.
Okay.
Elanga's going to do something.
Expert football analysis from Matthew Barnett there.
Sorry.
He's going to do something on a football pitch.
He's going to do something. Barnet Neve.
Oh, apologies.
Yeah,
Ali, would you like to add a prediction for the weekend?
I would
a
love-
road one?
I would love to add a road one.
A road one?
A road one. It's not a road actually. I'll say Newcastle will beat City. And I'll say it's 2-1. And the reason why is because City always starts slow. Newcastle have got a lot of form behind them. City, I think, have not. What we're going to see. I think City are going to have a difficult start to the season. So 2-1 to Newcastle.
Yeah. I think that is definitely the game of the weekend there, and I actually agree with you. I definitely think Newcastle win. The only thing is, it's not at St James's.
Yeah,
I think-
massive advantage for City, but I
If
still
that's
think
at St James's, I think that's a shoe-in almost.
It's going to be a great game. Definitely looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Saturday
Saturday night as well, 8 p.m. It's a
8 p.m. game.
Wow.
It's a good game. I assume that's a prime one, a classic.
Probably,
Yeah,
yes.
those, yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Right. Any closing remarks? Any words of wisdom?
Go on, Matt.
Words of graces. Words of wisdom is, I mean, Tottenham Man U is going to be good fun this week as well. I think, Ali, your Arsenal team is awful. I have to say that.
Words of wisdom, not
Leno in goal is one of the roguish
not words
shouts.
of hatred.
Speaking of like
Lennox is-
Arsenal,
yeah.
I actually back Palace to beat Arsenal. I really do.
On
Arsenal-
what basis?
Often struggle against Palace.
No, we don't. We beat them 2-0
No,
first
that's
day last
City,
season.
That's City.
Oh,
No,
we,
but
we,
you're-
we
yeah,
beat
but
them. We beat them away
I
from
remember- I
home
remember
2-0
seeing-
last season.
I remember seeing you like a few times struggle against
That was like
Palace.
7 years ago.
Yeah, that's the last time I watched.
I
the
think.
match.
I think.
No, I think they'll be good at home. Palace against Arsenal. Yeah, I back an upset there. Maybe a draw, but I back an upset.
I don't think we'll beat them comfortably. I think they'll just be able like similar to Forest, like 2-1, 2-0. Like it'll just be so. I think we'll just the start of the season will just be very like unfancy 2-1s, 2-0s, 1-0s. We'll see what we get to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Ali, for joining us.
Pleasure.
Been
Thank
good
you,
fun.
Matt, as ever, for being here.
Always here.
Thanks to Chris and Andy for being on holiday. And thank you to everyone for not watching and not listening, as I assume you are again. We have been the On Your Head Son podcast. And remember, it's on your head, son.
Not off your head.
So.
Nah.
Amazing.
There we go.